R&B. This is the beat of CT. I'm Jenny Boom Boom. DJ Michi's here. What up, Meech?
What's up? What's up?
And today we have Jason Black here from CRT, which stands for the Community Renewal Team. Hi, Jason. How are you there, my friends?
Hey, Jenny. Good to see you. I'm doing all right. Thank you very much. And DJ Meech, thank you for the time today. Really appreciate it.
Definitely. Nice to meet you, man.
CRT, I receive 100 emails a week from you guys. You guys always have so many. I'm just kidding. I enjoy the emails. I enjoy the emails. But you guys always have so many amazing things going on for the community, helping with the community with so many amazing services. So talk to me about your recovery working groups that you have going on right now.
Right. Well, so we are a part of that. So the city of Hartford, the mayor's office, he put together these recovery working groups recently. A couple weeks or so ago now, and as a part of that, 2 people within leadership at CRT are a part of that working group, and specifically Lena Rodriguez, who you might have met, Jenny. You may have met her before. So she's our president and CEO. Lena sits on the Housing and Basic Needs working group, and in fact, she's chairing that working group, which is awesome. You know, because a big part of what CRT is all about, for those of your listeners who might not know what we do, or maybe you've seen us around town, you've probably seen our Meals on Wheels trucks driving around. CRT, we are an anti-poverty organization, right? If you sort of boil it down to what does CRT do and what are we all about, it's helping people to better themselves, better their own lives, find ways to improve their own circumstances and have a more fulfilling life, right? And so that basic needs working group, and that with housing as a big piece of that, Lena is helping to chair that committee. We're very excited that she's there. Heidi Lubetkin, who's one of our vice presidents, she oversees clinical and support services. She is on one of the other working groups as well as a member. So we're working very closely with the city of Hartford right now on the plans that are shaping up to help ensure that as we move forward, everybody's going to be moving in the right direction when it comes to recovery around this COVID-19 epidemic.
So Jason, though, with everything that's been happening, because wow, it's still shocking, everything we've been dealing with, right? It's shocking. Yeah. I'm sure that you're seeing families that were in a pretty okay place, living paycheck to paycheck, like a lot of us do, now moving into the poverty level. Yeah, so I'm sure the demand is greater than ever.
Yeah, demand has definitely continued to rise, right? And that's a really important point, and I'm glad you bring that up, Jenny. People who may never have thought they would need services from an agency like CRT are finding themselves in a position where they now want help, or they need help. And so they are reaching out. And to that point, I mean, if people are out there, they're listening to your show and they are struggling right now, and we know there are people who are, you probably know, I know folks who are in that circumstance. There's no shame, right? Call if you need that help, if you need that support. You can reach out to CRT, or you could start with the 211 through United Way, and they direct you to local services in your city or town, and get into that support system to find those services that you need. And there's so many different touch points that we can talk about this morning as far as where people can get help and assistance. One thing that just ended, but it's a huge program that we do every year, we do on behalf of the state of Connecticut here in central Connecticut, is energy assistance, right? And that's helping you to literally help you pay for your home heating expenses, right? So this spring, as you were saying before, Jenny, a lot of people suddenly they're finding themselves in a situation where they're like, wait, how am I going to pay this electric bill? How am I going to pay for the oil delivery that has to be done? Energy assistance through the state of Connecticut program helps people to do that. That program for this season, it got extended to the beginning of June. So it's just wrapping up now, but it will kick up again at the end of the summer. And it's not too early, right, for people to start thinking about that for next season. So if you think you might be in a position where you're going to need help with energy assistance in the fall, get in touch with CRT. It's a huge program. We can get you on the list. We can get you lined up. There's a lot of paperwork that you have to fill out, but right, do it now, right? So that when the fall hits and when the energy assistance opens up again, you're first in line, right? And you're ready to go, and you're going to get that help, and you're going to have support to pay those bills when the time
Can I tell you that I love that you're doing that, because, a lot of these companies are saying right now, and me and Michi have had these discussions on the air, these companies are saying, you don't have to pay us for 90 days. We're not going to shut you off right now with everything that's happening with the pandemic, but you're still going to owe that money.
Yeah, that's right.
And folks don't realize that. They feel like they're just catching a break, but they're not. The bill's going to continue to build and continue to build. They may be starting to charge late fees and interest. I don't know. and
Yeah,
you'll be responsible for that bill still.
That's a really good point. Yeah, the bill's not going to go away, right? We can ignore it for a little while, or we can put it on the back of the pile, and we can say, okay, hello, say Moochie's here to say hi as well this morning.
Hi, I like your cat. That's a cute little cat.
She loves doing Zoom meetings. Anyway, sorry. So as I was saying, though, but people right there, to your point, Jenny, I'm lost my train of thought. Thank you, Moochie. But the point being, you can get ahead of the curve on this one when it comes to energy assistance, right? And to your point before, people are still going to owe that money, right? It's not going to go away. Yes, you're going to be able to defer it. You're going to be able to put it off for a little while, and they're not going to shut you off, right? Shut-offs are not supposed to be happening right now. So if people have trouble with that, they need to get in touch with their energy provider, because like, Eversource or whoever it is, shut-offs should not be happening right now from what we have been told. But you're still going to owe the money. That said, energy assistance is an option for a lot of people in the state of Connecticut. There are income requirements that people need to be aware of, but you'd be surprised at how many people qualify. And equally, the types of things that people can have paid for, the way you heat your home, even if you heat your home with wood, right? You can get help to pay for that. People might not think of that as a thing.
Wow. I wouldn't even, because I was thinking, right? Like, what about folks that have oil heat? Yeah. I don't personally, but I have a lot of friends that do. Right. And it's Oil's a huge expense. Yeah. It's a huge expense.
It's a huge expense. We have oil here at my house. It's the big one, right? Oil and propane or gas, electric, those are the big ones, right? That people think of first, but there's other options there. And again, here's your opportunity. Get yourself lined up with the program for this fall. And they can help you. If you're in the program, you can get help every single month. It's not a one-shot deal, right? Once you're in the program, and there are plenty of people who are part of the program and they use it, all year long and year after year if they're qualified. So you do have to reapply every year. It's not a one and done as far as that goes. But if you think you might qualify, or if you're suddenly in a situation where things are different than they were before COVID came our way, and you're suddenly finding yourself looking at these bills and you're thinking, how am I going to do this? This is an option for you. It's definitely worth thinking about.
Wow.
So outside of the energy assistance, are there any other programs that you guys offer?
Oh, sure. No, lots and lots. And let me just say one more thing, Mitch, about the energy assistance. It's not just homeowners, right? You can be a renter.
And also apply.
And you can also apply. That's
great to know.
It's really important for people to know. So another thing that CRT is responsible for, we'll shift gears a little bit. We have a really big behavioral health services program in Hartford. It's on Market Street in Hartford. And it's interesting. Their approach has been, really throughout the agency, there's been a big shift in the way that we're doing work these days. A lot of people are working from home, which has been helpful. But the Market Street location where behavioral health services operates, they're open. They are seeing individuals in one-on-one, face-to-face, if people are willing to do that. If you don't want to come in, you don't want to leave the house, or you can't leave the house for whatever reason, telehealth, telemedicine, these video types of meetings, those are available as well. And right now, the demand is certainly there. People, if you're struggling with addiction issues, or if you just need somebody to talk to right now, right? Because you're feeling the stresses and the pressures of what's going on in the world around you, or you've lost a job and you're trying to figure out, what am I going to do next? The Behavioral Health Services group within CRT, BHS group, that amazing team. And they're there and they're available and they want to help. Two things with that. There's no waiting list right now to get into those services.
That's great.
Yeah, pretty cool. And even better, insurance is not required.
Oh, wow.
If you have it, obviously it's helpful, right? Because the insurance will help to pay for it. But if for some reason you find yourself in a situation you don't have health insurance, you're not going to get turned away.
Wow. I love that.
That's good.
Yeah, it's amazing. Amazing.
So are you guys at this point offering anything as far as for children as well? For behavioral health? The reason why I'm asking is, I've been thinking a lot about these poor kids. They're sitting at home. Their sports activities have been canceled. They can't see their friends. And I know some kids, probably experiencing a lot of depression at this point.
Yeah, no, it's a really good question. And so CRT's behavioral health team, it is for adults. It's 18 and up.
Okay.
Right. And that's an important qualification. So I'm glad you asked. We are not specifically doing a program for kids in that respect. There are programs that CRT does that are focused on children. We can talk about some of those, but it's not specifically one that's counseling related. It's people should reach out to like the Village for children and families,
the
right?
Village.
I mean, I would start there. Great organization right in Hartford, and they do great work.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me some of the stuff that you guys got going on for kids right now, Jay.
Yeah, well, so there's a couple things. One thing that's coming, and I don't have a lot of details yet, so maybe this is one, Jenny, that we can check in on as the summer progresses. And I'll be really curious to see how this is going to shift this summer. One thing that we partner with Capital Workforce Partners in the city of Hartford, they run what's called a Summer Youth Employment Program. Yeah, and it's for teenagers, it's for teens in Hartford and East Hartford specifically, where they are going to get, and let's step back a second, in pre-COVID world, right? This is like a hands-on job experience for teens. For many of them, it's their first job, right? They're going to work in an office, or they're going to work in a retail environment, or they're going to work in, a variety of different things where the employers step up and are part of this program. Last year, we had about 200 or so teenagers who were involved in the program.
Wow, that's so great.
It is. It's pretty cool. And it's typically like 5 to 6 weeks. It's 120 hours total that these kids are fulfilling. They get paid minimum wage. And they get
just great.
Yeah, it's going up, right? And so that's cool. It's a weekly paycheck. And again, for a lot of these kids, they've never had a job before. So this is their first opportunity to work and to learn about what it means to work in an office, to, how do you have to dress to be in an office every day, and what are the expectations for, for being on time and getting off your phone, right? And paying attention to what's needed to be done during the job. But you're leaving with job skills, and you're leaving with cash in your pocket at the end of the summer that you can have for if you have school expenses, or you want new clothes for the fall, or, whatever the case, or you want to save it, right? Some of them, we hope they're going to save some of that cash, which is good. But what's interesting then is, so how is this program changing this summer? Right. And that the details of that are still being worked out, to be perfectly honest. It's going to become a program where most of these kids, they are going to essentially work from home. They're going to be given projects to do that they can do from home. They're going to have to do check-ins on a regular basis with a program manager who's going to, they're going to Zoom, or they'll do phone calls, and they will do these regular check-ins to confirm that they're doing the work. It's a lot of trust. Right. Because normally these kids, they would have a supervisor who's going to be on them like every day. So for instance, the past 3 years now, I've had a summer intern through that program who would come into the office every day and would check in with me in the morning. Here's your assignment for the day. Here's what I want you to go work on. And then, let them go do it, and then check in with me before they leave at, late, halfway through the day, whatever it is. And we would, keep track, and you'd be able to sort of keep an eye on things.
Right.
This is a little different now because of the fact that we really can't have kids coming into offices and retail settings. It's everybody needs to be safe. Right.
But I will say to you, Jay, because I do have kids here that are doing their work from home. And my daughter, who just finished her junior year, who's about to finish, she just finished her junior year. She's doing better now, grade wise, than she was doing when she was going to school every day.
No
She's an
kidding.
A student now.
Congratulations. Beautiful.
Right.
Super.
So some kids might really excel from, being home.
Yeah, I think you're right. Some kids are really able to, it's easy. Maybe it's easier for them to focus, right? There aren't all these distractions going on in the classroom.
Right. I think that's what is the distractions. And also when they're going to school at 7:00 in the morning, they're not sleeping. Right. No,
it's a good point. Right. And it's interesting, right? Because before COVID hit, I was seeing a lot of discussions and debate going on around, particularly for the high school kids, like the start time, right? Are we asking kids to start school too early? I am fortunate in that all of my kids are now done with school.
Yeah.
Right. My youngest, he graduated from the high school last year. He's now working. It's a good thing. He loves the job he has. It's a good thing. But again, for the summer youth program, it's going to be fascinating to see how it changes. We're not going to be able to do as many kids this summer. I think they're looking at roughly 80 to 100 kids who will be part of the program.
Okay.
Again, they have to be living in Hartford. Or I believe East Hartford, but that'll have to be finalized. Last year it was both Hartford, East Hartford. It's a great program. It's a great opportunity for these young people to get a first job for many of them. and really to, they're going to put some money in their pockets this summer that
Right.
they'll have for later on. So that's one piece that's going on for young people. That's pretty cool.
And how do kids apply for that? Do you know? Just go head over
Yeah,
to your
so,
website,
right.
or
So they can start at the CRT website, or they can go to the website for Capital Workforce Partners. If they just Google that, it'll pop up, and they look for summer youth employment, and they'll see details. I don't know if, I think the application process has opened at this point, and they fill that out, and then they'll be kept in touch with, or a parent can help them fill it out if they want, right? Mom or dad is at home and they're hearing the show right now and they're thinking, I really need Junior to get something done this summer and not just sit around and play video games.
Yeah.
Right. Here's an opportunity.
That's definitely a definite worry. It really
is. As a parent, that's what I assume kids are doing all day.
Yeah.
What do I know? But so here's a way for them to be constructive, do something really exciting and good. And it'll be good for them. It'll be good for the community. One of the projects that they'll be working on, I know this summer, is going to be tied into stuff with the census. And I think we're going to try to talk about that a little bit this morning, which will be good.
Yeah, let's talk about the census. Talk to me about the census, because I received it.
All right.
Yeah, sure, we could do that, because I received that in the mail and I don't really understand what it is. And I've heard the commercials and everybody's telling you, you need to fill this thing out. Why is the census so important, Jay Black?
Okay, so Jenny, the census is super important because it is the only way that we can ensure that everyone in our communities is properly counted by the government, right? And these numbers are what affects every decision that's being made at the local, state, and federal level, right? By getting an accurate census count, knowing exactly who is in your household, and when I say knowing exactly, it's from a numeric point of view, right? They're not getting personal information about you. They're not collecting personal information about you. It is anonymous as far as that goes. And people should understand that, right? I mean, I know people have concerns. They hear about the census and they think, oh, I'm going to be giving up my privacy.
That's I kind of felt that way. I was worried because I'm like, what does the government want from me now?
Yeah.
Like, what do they want?
Why do they need it? No, it's a good, it's a legitimate question. And but let me assure you, that's not what's happening.
Okay.
Right? Your information is kept private. It's an anonymous reporting mechanism. You can do it online. And you don't enter any personal information when you go in to do the census. If you got a mailing from the federal government about the census, you'll see when you open it up, it has a unique identifier. It's like a coded number that you insert into the form that you'll do online, so that you then get started. If you don't have the mailer, you lost it, or you recycled it, or you misplaced it.
Or just threw that thing out because you were scared.
Oh, okay, right. So that could happen. That could happen, right? You're not out of the loop, right? You're not out of the picture at this point. You can still go onto the census website, and they will assign you a new unique code, so you can go in and get started. You'll do it, and you're talking about, when you're filling out the census, it's providing information that talks about how many people are within your household, right? So it's you and your spouse if you have one, or your partner if you have one, if you have any kids in the household living with you, and it's to get an accurate count of how many people live in a particular town or community within our state, and really across the entire nation. And one of the things that's interesting, we only do this, the government only does this once every 10 years, right?
Oh.
So, yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, and so it's important, right? Because so right now, the decisions that are still being made affecting funding for things like schools and public safety, and for maintenance of roads and bridges and things like, all of that stuff is being based on data that at this point is almost 10 years old, right?
Oh, wow.
That's why they're losing track. They only do it every 10 years. That's why they don't know how many people are living around us.
Well, it's a really good point. You're exactly right. And so to that point, it means that what's happening today, it's probably close, right? But it's certainly not 100%. It's not accurate for today's information. And so that's why they need to do this they do it every 10 years to try to keep it current. So this year's a census year. They extended the deadline for people to fill out and complete the census. It goes until, I think, the end of October at this point, which is good. So there's plenty of time. But the nice part about it, really, if it takes you 5 minutes to do it, you got distracted. right? You something else caught your eye and you looked away from the screen for a minute. You should be able to do it relatively quickly. It's very, very easy to fill out. There's multiple languages if you need it in something other than English. And please fill out the census. If I can do one thing today with this show, it is to encourage everyone who's listening to go online and fill out the census and get counted, right? That count is super, super important because it is going to determine things about funding from the government for all of the programs that we think are important and that we care about as a community, right? If you want money for your schools, if you want money to fix the roads and fix the bridges and to make sure that our community is a safe place to be, fill out the census, please.
So Michi, before us talking to Jason this morning, did you understand what the census was?
I was literally just about to say, I'm glad you explained it, because I honestly thought it had something to do with like people that had families and kids and stuff like that. So I thought somebody like me who lives at home alone, I'm like, I don't have to do the census, because I'm thinking it's more, for like families and stuff like that. So I'm glad that you explained it.
All right, thank you. I appreciate that one, and I'm really glad you raised that point. It is for all of us. It's for everyone, whether you live on your own, you're solo, you have got your own place, and or you live with your folks, or you live in a family, or you live in a retirement community, whatever it is, right? You live in America. Right. You are part of the United States. You deserve to be counted, and you should be counted. And it's so big. It's such a great opportunity. I hope that everyone who is listening to the show today, that they will, if you haven't already done it, if you have done it, thank you. You've done your job. You've done your part. You are a good public citizen. And if you haven't done it yet, a little public shaming, go do it.
I'm shamed over here.
And I'm teasing, right? I mean, right. It's so important, and it's super easy. Right, they've made it as easy as possible. You can do it online now, which is really, really great. It used to be, right, before the ease of smartphones and everything else, someone would come to your house and they knock on the door and they'd have a clipboard and they'd like, please tell us how many people live here. And you can understand where that would freak people out, right? Because you've got somebody, a stranger is coming to your door, right? Yeah. They're probably wearing a T-shirt that says census on it, and okay, that's good, but that's not necessary anymore, right? We've come a long way in the past 10 years technologically, so that we can have the census done in a way, it's all online, it's all secure and safe and anonymous, right?
Right.
So go do that census. It's a great thing to do. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're going to do that. Before you go today, I know you wanted to mention the Meals on Wheels program.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Thank you. No, really appreciate that. So that's a big part of what CRT does every single day, every single weekday. It's a big team in Hartford. Someday, Jenny, when we're not in COVID world, I would love for you and Meech to come to our offices over on Windsor Street in Hartford to see the operation. We'll give you the grand tour.
I would love that.
It's pretty amazing what they're doing there. So there's a dedicated team of people who are cooking and prepping and boxing it all up. Fresh food is prepared every single weekday out of these kitchens at CRT's main offices. And what's kind of cool, right? So say you walk into the front entrance of CRT's offices, it looks like any other office in Hartford, right? You're like, there's a receptionist is there and the logo's behind the wall. And you're like, welcome to CRT. Okay, cool. You turn to the left and you go behind this magic door. So to me, it's this magic door, and you enter this massive industrial kitchen that's back there that you would never know is back there, right? Because they're just doing their thing and it's hidden from view, but they're there every single day. They're making the food, packing it up, getting it out the door. We've got a fleet of trucks and drivers, dedicated drivers, plus volunteers then in the local community who are helping out to make sure these meals get delivered as quickly as possible. And they're being delivered to medically homebound seniors age 60 and over who are qualified to receive these meals. And it's fresh, hot, nutritious meals that are delivered to folks every single weekday. And it's people, they can't leave their home. Right. And one of the things that's interesting, one of the shifts that's had to happen in the non-COVID world, pre-COVID world, right? These delivery drivers and the volunteers, they would typically go into the recipient's home. Right. It's almost like a wellness check, you know, where they'd come in and they'd say hi and they'd see how you're doing. They'd have a little chat. They'd maybe check on the cat or help feed the fish or, whatever's going on. But they bring you the food, and you have that social interaction. For a lot of these seniors who are in this program, That's it. That's all they've got on a daily basis.
Right.
If they don't have family in the area, they don't have a spouse or partner with them any longer, they're solo, right? And they are alone and they're cut off from the world in many ways, right? And so this interaction is huge. Today, because of where we are with COVID, that's changed, right? So they call first to make sure that the person is home and ready to receive the food, or they knock on the door and they have the conversation literally through the door, but then leave the food outside the door for the person to get it. Because we want the recipients to be safe, we want the drivers and the volunteers to be safe. We've had to make changes there, but and they're delivering meals to residents in Hartford County, Middlesex County, and parts of Talon County as well. It's over 1,000 meals a day.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Yikes.
again, fresh food that's going out. And then you add to that, for those who are able to leave their homes, normally we would be working very closely with senior centers in the communities. And we would do what's called like a congregate meal or a community meal, where everybody sits down together and has lunch, right? In a group setting at the senior center, and you're meeting with your friends and your buddies, and you chit chat and you share some gossip and you have a lunch, and it's all good, right? But we can't do that now, right? The senior centers are closed, as they should be for now, but we don't want to cut off that program. And so those meals are being delivered to the senior centers. This is on top of what we're doing with Meals on Wheels. And the seniors are then able to come and pick up the meals and take them home to enjoy them at home.
You guys do such great work.
It's amazing. That program blows my mind, right?
Yeah.
That team is just really doing amazing work every single day. And I love everything that they're doing and everything that they're responsible for. It makes me very proud to be a part of CRT. Yeah.
I know. You guys are just amazing. And like I said, they have so many amazing things going on. So Jay, we're going to definitely, meet back up in a couple of weeks to go over everything that's going on, because I'm sure there's much more coming up for the summer.
There's a lot of great things that we hope are going to be happening this summer. Absolutely. I'm very excited about that. And we're just scratching the surface, right? This
was Michi, today's conversation. That was just a tiny bit of what CRT is doing right now. I mean, honestly. So in a couple of weeks, we'll meet back up and let everybody know your website so everybody can go there and visit.
Yeah, right. So the website, it's www.crtct.org. I will say right now, the website is undergoing a massive overhaul right now. So and maybe let's save that for one of our future conversations, because the new and improved website is going to be amazing. I'm very excited about where that's going. I hope that we're going to have that launching this summer. Meanwhile, a really good way to stay in touch with CRT as well as through our Facebook page. If you look up Community Renewal Team on Facebook, you'll see us there. We're posting stuff to Facebook at least once a day, most times more. Oh, I'll just mention one more quick thing, Jenny, if I can, on Facebook. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, the director of our early care and education program, the director of our preschool program, she does story time using Facebook Live.
That's so nice.
It's the cutest thing you'll ever see in your life. So she picks a storybook that she's doing, and she does a read aloud, right, for families and the kids. And we know the kids are out there because the moms and dads, they're writing in as the story is going on, and they tell us who's watching the video. And then because it's Facebook Live, those videos get saved on Facebook. They're recorded. Kids can go back and they can watch them when they want. Or if you can't join us, it's at 5:00 every Tuesday and Thursday. If for some reason you can't make it, that recording is there on our Facebook page, and you can watch it whenever you want. I'll send it to you later. There's this cute little video of one of the kids who's watching a story time that's happening while he's eating his dinner. And it's just it's the cutest thing you'll ever see. And it's a nice way for us to try to stay in touch with the community right now. Right now, the preschool program is closed because of COVID, not because there were problems, but because of the safety concerns that were necessary, right? We don't want to expose staff and or parents, families, kids to unnecessary risk. And so
I understand.
Right. So
but this is nice that the kids have something to look forward to.
Yeah, it's so cute. And the director, they do need that. I agree totally. And the director is so sweet. She does little sing-alongs for the kids at the beginning and the end, and she picks a different book every Tuesday and Thursday. Today's book is about dinosaurs.
Perfect. I might get Max right on there.
It'll be great. It'll be fun. Absolutely. So
thanks so much. I appreciate everything. I really do.
Really, Jenny, Meech, thank you both very, very much. We really appreciate the time today. And let's definitely stay in touch. We've got a lot of stuff to talk about.
A couple of weeks, we'll be back with each other. Okay. All right.
I appreciate it.
It's at 937. Jay, thanks so much.
Yes, thank you.
So this was great today. You're awesome.